really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really big test. I think the fact that, you know, Spain are the type of team England haven't come up against during this competition yet, with regards to how much they possess the ball, and their midfield is a major, major key area where they're going to win the game. And I think that's where it's going to come down to, where the game's going to be won and lost. I think that they're a really, really good team, but the fact that obviously they don't have two of their best players, which you can't say, you know, anybody without two of their best players would struggle. But I think the fact that Alessia Putellas and Jenny Hermoso are both injured, I think works in England's favour, because I had Spain as the favourites before the tournament started. And then with the injury, especially to Putellas, because obviously we knew about Jenny Hermoso before, made me think differently. But I still felt like Spain were one of the favourites. But I think during this tournament, they haven't really looked like they're the favourites when they've been in it. I think the midfield, as I mentioned before, I think with Bonmati, with Patry, I think that Caldante as well, depending on where she plays, if she plays in the middle in the 10 or plays straight up top, I think it's going to be very difficult for England, because they're not going to have the ball as much as they have in the other three previous games. They just won't. We know this team possess the ball. We know how good they are with the ball. And at times, I think England will have to be patient and pick their moments. But I think with the likes of Beth Mead and the form that she's in, and Lauren Hemp, when they get the ball, and I like it when they switch sides as well. I think they're quite good when they switch from left to right and right to left. And I don't think people know how to handle them. But I think Spain have a really good back line in Paredes, and a lot of their players play for Barcelona. We know how organised they are. But I think England can hopefully use their pace as an advantage in this game. And we saw in the last couple of games when Alessia Russo's come on, she scored. She looks really sharp. She looks really ready to go. So I think that Serena Wiegman will go with Ellen White, because of obviously we know how good Ellen White is, and she's chasing that all-time leading goal scorer for England as well. But I do think Alessia Russo is a good option off the bench as well. So I think it could come down to decision-making in the game for this game as well, because we know Serena Wiegman's not scared to make substitutions, but she also doesn't change anything from the start. I thought against Northern Ireland she was going to change the team, but she didn't. And to be fair, Northern Ireland did really, really well. But you can only go so far when you're playing against a professional team and the other team's not pro. So, yeah. When you watch the games, for me, like, it's difficult because you're going to always look at the players that score goals, right? So you look at Cotato, that plays for France, who's now obviously out. You look at Pop. You look at the players that score. But for me, Keira Walsh has been unbelievable in this tournament. And it's unfortunate because I gave 2 player of the matches during this tournament. And, you know, I've given them to the players that scored the goals, because you can't not give it to the player that scored a hat-trick or 2 goals in a game. And it's unfortunate for Keira Walsh because all of her team are scoring loads of goals. But I think she's been brilliant. I really do. If you watch the game, if people watch the game, I'd love to play with Keira Walsh, because she never really gives the ball away. You know, and I'm not just saying that because she's from England, but I just feel for her because she never really gets the accolades because she doesn't score goals. But when you watch the games, she's like N'Golo Kante. You know, she's like a quarterback. I've said it loads of times. So for me, I'm not sure that people would probably be thinking, well, why would you think of Keira Walsh? But if they watch the games, they would see, definitely. But then there's Bonmati from Spain. I think she's absolutely brilliant. I really do. You know, there's Cascarina from France. Wendy Renard, who obviously had that unfortunate penalty miss and then the miss after. But when you watch her play football, she's on a different level. So there's certain players that I don't think there's been a player that's been absolutely unbelievable throughout the whole tournament. Even Beth Mead, she scored a lot of goals, but and it sounds weird to sit here and say she's not played well, because she has played well. But when you look at the games in its entirety, the other day, Fran Kirby was probably the best England player, but she didn't get player of the match. So football's a matter of opinions, as we know. But for me at this moment in time, I'd probably say Beth Mead, Bonmati, Keira Walsh probably, and maybe Pop. It depends. I'll choose all of them. It was really fun. I went down there for the day. I interviewed Alessia Russo, which was amazing. Really, really nice person. Maybe I'm biased because she's Manchester United. But I said I'll get an assist for her 2 goals because I interviewed her 2 days before she scored those 2 goals. But the vibe was really, really good. Really laid back vibe. I said that I wish it was like that when I played there, based upon the fact there was a basketball machine. They've got like a games room where the media are all playing against the players. really laid back. Obviously, there's still COVID protocols, so I wasn't able to hug any of the girls and stuff like that. But it was really good vibe down there, and I think the players, from what I've gathered from speaking to them, have really enjoyed going out for walks in and around the Richmond area, being able to kind of be around civilians. Because when I played at England, you'd be at St George's Park, as I mentioned, which is an unbelievable facility, but you can go like, weeks and months without seeing another person that's not on your team. So it's quite nice for them to be able to go for walks around the area, to kind of really have those moments away from their teammates, because even though you get along, you need the break sometimes. And I know they had planned like a family and friends barbecue last weekend, but that unfortunately got cancelled due to COVID, like different protocols. So they got to see their families, but as long as everybody had a test. But it was supposed to be like a team barbecue for friends and families, but that got cancelled, which I think as much as it's disappointing for the players, it makes sense to do that, because obviously they had a bit of an outbreak within the squad. I think the main difference is how laid back everybody is. I think the connection there is between the media and the players. But having said that, there wasn't as much media interest in the game when I played, and it wasn't even long ago. And I say this like I was playing in 1985 or something, but actually I only retired 2 years ago, and the women's game was only kind of elevated in the last year. So, the amount of media that's there, and they're all having fun. And I quite like from outside looking in, like I didn't really know what it was like to be on the media side, right? And the media get treated amazingly well at all these stadiums, like the food, the drinks, and I wasn't aware that was the case. But I guess it makes sense to be nice to the media, because then they'll write nice stuff about you. But it was something that I wasn't really aware of, how well the media got treated at the different stadiums and the places. But like I said, that's not to say the media didn't treat us good, but there just wasn't as many people at the games. Like the mix zone was about 2 people, if that. I think so. Germany have kind of surprised me as well, because I've always known Germany to be good. We always struggled to beat them when I played. We only beat them in 2015 for like the first time, but like in ages. But other than that, Germany always seemed to like breed talent and just know how to win. And I don't think you can ever write them off. And I think sometimes going into this tournament, a lot of people expected Sweden to win the whole thing. But I think the thing in the women's game, you can never really predict results or who's going to win, because the consistency just isn't really there every single game. As we saw England, Austria, I think everybody expected England to win 4 or 5-0, but it didn't work that way. And then nobody saw, the 8-0 against Norway coming. So I don't think you can ever predict things in the women's game, and it's all about consistency. So I wouldn't say, would Germany and England be able to go all the way that way? I hope so. I hope England can go all the way without conceding. But at the end of the day, I don't really mind if we concede, but if we win, that's all that matters, right? So I'm sure Germany feel that way. If they win 4-3, they still go through, to the semi-finals. So if that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be. A win's a win.